Greetings, this is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central today here in lovely Kent, Ohio. We're coming at you from the heart of it all. That's what they like to call Ohio, the heart of it all. And sometimes it does feel just like that, like it's the heart of it all. Everything happens in Ohio. Everybody's connected to Ohio some kind of way. And right now, you are connected to Ohio right through the internet. So what we like you all to do to certify this connection and really make it real is to go ahead and give us a like if you're watching on Facebook, give us a thumbs up if you're watching on the tube, and then go ahead and invite all your friends, your family, your enemies, your frenemies, and everybody you know to come check out Doc Ock at noon and 9, because that's where we're running down the voodoo right over here. And you know it's that old voodoo that you do, because we know you do some voodoo too. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and read our proverb of the day. Let's see if we got a proverb left in this book that we haven't read yet, because we are just about done with this book. If we're not all the way done, we've gone through it. We have been going through it and everything in here. Oh, wait a minute. Nope, that's just one I forgot to. Oh, here we go. Here goes one we haven't done yet here. Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go right here. This is perfect for what we're thinking about. And this is looks like a Senegalese proverb, if I'm not mistaken. Sierra Leonean proverb. And the proverb goes like this: do not tell the man who is carrying you that he stinks. Okay? Okay. Just think about that. Does that make sense? You gonna tell the guy that's carrying you that he stinks? I don't think so. So you just keep that to yourself, grin and bear it. But do not tell the man who is carrying you that he stinks. Yeah, think about that one. That just sounds like good old what they call, back in the day, we used to call common sense, which seems to be in short supply right about now. And then we're going to go ahead and read you a little bit more from our book over here, King of Kings, about His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, last emperor of the 3,000-year Solomonic dynasty of Ethiopia. Yes, he's all that and a bag of chips. I want my bag of chips too, real bad. Matter of fact, I might go out and get me some today. So we left off, we're in his the first chapter, A Childhood in Harar. And we're still talking about his family background, particularly his father. Yet Ras Makonnen set great store by his son's education, insisting that it be as broad as possible. In his autobiography, Haile Selassie writes that, oops, that's not the one. Almost forgot our slideshow for the day. There we go. Okay, and click it again. All right. In his autobiography, Haile Selassie writes that he and his cousin Imru's education was no different from that of the sons of ordinary Ethiopians, which the author describes as an understatement if ever there was one. Ethiopian priests were engaged to teach Tafari, both Amharic and Ge'ez, the traditional liturgical language of the Ethiopian church. Another of Tafari's teachers in these early years was Dr. Joseph Vidalin, a physician from Martinique, who was director of the hospital in Harar. and was appointed to teach the boy French. But the busy doctor was unable to devote more than an hour a day to his language tuition. I don't know if tuition is actually the right word there. That sounds tutelage. Sounds like to his language tutelage. That should be tutelage, not tuition. As a result, the young governor's son and his cousin ended up being sent to the French Capuchin school run by Monsignor Tarin, Monsignor Yoruso, known as Abba Andreas, who became Tarin's successor after his death. Just making a little note for myself there. Tutelage. Good word to know. When in early 1896, Ras Makonnen was appointed as commander-in-chief in the Italian-Abyssinian War, he entrusted his son to Abba Andreas's care. "If I die," he told the French priest, "be his father. I give him to you, and God will do the rest." Abba Andreas was deeply moved. He hung his pectoral cross over the boy's shoulder as a visible sign of his adoption and had him photographed in this pose. The picture still survives today. Among the teaching staff at the Capuchin school, one in particular exerted a decisive influence upon the young Tafari Makonnen, the Ethiopian monk Abba Samuel Wolde Kahin. Abba Samuel, Haile Selassie later wrote, was a good man with a wide range of knowledge, who dedicated himself to the vocation of learning and teaching, who like a bee gathered knowledge with goodness and modesty, who had devoted himself to the love of God and of his fellow man, and who never lusted after the pleasures of the flesh, but exclusively pursued the spiritual joys. I'm in a position to say this because I knew him well. We spent some 10 years together. This emphatic endorsement by Haile Selassie of his former teacher is also remarkable inasmuch as the emperor treats his own childhood only very cursorily in his memoirs, devoting just a few pages to this phase of his life. And in truth, Abba Samuel really did fill the roles of mentor, advisor, and secretary for Haile Selassie right up to the priest's death in June 1915. Even so, Haile Selassie did not divulge the whole truth about his relationship with Abba Samuel. On July 7, 1915, Tafari Makonnen and a retinue of 9 followers took a boating excursion on Lake Haramaya, some 20 kilometers northwest of Harar, in the middle of the lake. However, their boat began taking on water. The men tried bailing the water out using their hats, but all to no avail. Once we had become convinced of the fact that the boat was leaking, that it was impossible to cross with us inside it, and that we were all of us sinking with the boat, writes Haile Selassie, we began to swim with great difficulty. But as the lake was wide and it was impossible to cross it by swimming, 7 men became exhausted and drowned. Haile Selassie then goes on to list them all by name, including Abba Samuel. He himself, the emperor claims, was helped first by one of his servants until more assistance arrived in the form of some men on the shore who had seen what had happened and dived in. But in actual fact, it was Abba Samuel who saved the life of his emperor, who clearly couldn't swim. and in the process sacrificed his own that day. We can only speculate why Haile Selassie chose not to mention this fact in his autobiography. Did it perhaps strike him as unseemly to admit openly to the world that he might be beholden to another person? By the age of 10 years old, Xxviii Makonnen could read and write both Amharic and Ge'ez and converse in French. Haile Selassie's Catholic education and his closeness to the Catholic monks of the Capuchin mission would later give rise to the accusation that he had secretly converted to the Roman Catholic faith. Groundless suspicions like these bespoke a deep-seated mistrust in Ethiopia of anything foreign. Yeah, we didn't cotton it in Ferengi. Many conservative Ethiopians took an extremely skeptical view of both foreign expatriates in their midst, especially Europeans. But the cosmopolitan atmosphere in Harar and the broad-minded attitude of his father left a profound impression on the young Xxviii Makonnen, as would become apparent later in his regency. It was evident that his father had great expectations of his son and intended to prepare him for greater things, and just as clear that Xxviii had the requisite talent to fulfill his father's wishes. For many people, Ras Makonnen was the natural heir to the throne, and so it came as no surprise when in 1898 Emperor Menelik II formally named his cousin as his successor on the 1st of November 1905, after Xxviii Makonnen had turned 13 years old. His father bestowed upon him the title of Dejazmach, in other words, a count, and had made him his heir. He also appointed him as the regional governor of Garumuleta district within Harar province. Since this was merely a ceremonial, okay, I definitely don't know how to pronounce that word. Infeoffment. I'll try it that way. I'm not familiar with that word at all. Let me just single that one out. I have to go look that up later and I'll find out how to pronounce it. A ceremonial position, a trusted official, Fitarawi, in other words, Baron Kolach, was put in place to govern the region in his name. Nevertheless, the young Xxviii was deeply gratified at receiving this solemn mark of respect. He later reported that he had been especially proud to be admitted as an officially nominated Dejazmach into his father's circle of advisors alongside his most senior officers. There is a record of a meeting between the young Xxviii and a delegation sent to the Ethiopian to the Ethiopian court by the German Emperor Wilhelm II in December 1904. The extraordinary imperial mission to Abyssinia under the leadership of Friedrich Rosen, special advisor on the Middle East to the German Foreign Ministry, was tasked with concluding a trade and friendship treaty with Emperor Menelik II. In January 1905, the delegation reached the province of Harar, where it was formally received at the governor's palace by his son and deputy, Xxviii Makonnen. In his account of the visit, Felix Rosen, a university professor and the brother of the head of the delegation, gives a vivid thumbnail sketch of the 12-year-old prince. Okay, now, we could end it right here, but we're going to go ahead and read this sketch about this 12-year-old prince. Lid's Xxviii is delicate and slight for his age. His features are pure Semitic, while his skin is fair. In Abyssinia, in Abyssinia, both of these traits are a sign of quote unquote noble blood. He was dressed in a flowing cloak of black silk with small gold buttons, attire customarily worn by the upper echelons of Abyssinian society. His bearing was measured and dignified, and yet at the same time charming, childlike. The conversation was confined to civilities and compliments, and at the request of the prince was conducted in Amharic, although it is rumored that he speaks French tolerably well. Here, lively discussion is not considered polite. People of good breeding tend rather to listen attentively to what is being said and only to give a response in the form of some courteous remark after a brief pause for thought. Well, now that was actually worth reading. Yeah, that was very worthwhile reading, just to hear that the idea of Gabina running off at the jibs is not something that polite society does in Ethiopia, and I'm sure that's probably true even to this day. So there we have it. That's our the last of our series. Well, we're going to have one more segment this evening, but that's the last of our noontime series on Ethiopia and Haile Selassie I, the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, last ruler of the 3,000-year Solomonic dynasty of Ethiopia, His Imperial Majesty. But we will be coming at you from time to time with other series, new series about or additional information, because we still have more of this book we could read. We got other books that we could read from. We do have his autobiography, etc. But we want to do some other things dealing with Ethiopian culture, like we want to do some cooking classes. Okay, so we haven't figured out exactly how we're going to do that yet, but we're working on that, on doing some things dealing with the foods of Ethiopia. And it should be quite instructive. And if you follow the directions, you will be having some good eating that will not only taste good, but it'll be good for you too. And I know y'all like some collard greens, so one of the dishes is definitely collard greens. Yeah, we got something for you on that one. We do it, we've got one way we've been doing it, but we're getting ready to learn some new ways to do it. So we're always expanding our boundaries. You know, we're always expanding. It's just like a balloon. We just keep blowing it up, blowing it up, blowing it up until finally it'll have to burst. And we don't know what happens after that, but I guess hopefully something good will happen after that. Meanwhile, this is Doc Ock signing off. You know what time it is. You know what to do. You know when to find us here again, because we're going to be black tonight at 9 o'clock. This is Doc Ock at noon and 9 signing off. Make sure before you go to give us a like if you're watching on Facebook, a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, and then go ahead and make your monthly donation to Black Facts. Go to our website, blakfacts.org. That's where you can make a donation to people that look like me and you, as a matter of fact, or maybe not. Either way, all donations are acceptable. So if you could do that, those three things, that'd be excellente vivante. And in the meantime, peace out without a doubt, of course, with justice, because anything less disgusts us.